awakened creators. Welcome to this Gemini Full Moon creative ritual. Join in, settle in. Hi, Wings of Jules. Hi, Ron. Hello, hello. Hello, Big Fat Rainbow. I love that name. Hi. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, itty bitty. I got some orange spice tea. It's really hitting all the fall vibes right now. Very ready for today's live. Very ready for this opportunity to connect both with you and with spirit, and just channel some messages for us today for this full moon is so packed with potency. And I know I say that probably every single full moon. Hi, Kai Explorer. But it's because every full moon is packed with potency, right? That's kind of the point of full moons, is to fully illuminate something, to bring awareness to something. And, you know, because my own moon is in Gemini, maybe that has something to do with my affinity for this moon. But more so, I think it's because of the messaging behind this full moon and the opportunity that I feel it's giving us all. An opportunity that is going to allow us to really start to cultivate a strong friendship with ourselves. And that's not really something that I see talked about very often, is being a friend to yourself. I know I've heard people express, you know, talk to yourself like you would a friend, but I don't see a lot of folks practicing in it, and I don't see a lot more than just an empty kind of nice saying. And so we're going to take it deeper than just a nice saying, and we're going to actually give it some thought and give it some time, discuss it together, bring our unique gifts to the conversation, and then walk into a creative exploration using whatever medium you feel called to today. So this means we're going to take all these themes in our discussion, and we're going to try to channel our understanding of it into a creative expression. That might be a drawing, that might be a poem, that might be just some physical movement in your space. That might be working with your hands to create something. Hi, Sleepy Innes. Whatever you feel called to. You also don't have to feel pressure to create something with us today. You can just bear witness to the energies flowing and whatever it is that I create and share with you, and what the others share and post in their stories. But just let it inspire you and marinate in it. You don't need to feel pressured to do it today if you don't feel called to. So let's just put that out there. And before we get started, I want to ask us all to center ourselves in our hearts. Make sure first, though, that you feel safe in your space, which hopefully you've already covered. But if you just need a few moments to Key. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. I'm never exactly sure how to pronounce folks' handles, so thank you for letting me know that. Key Explorer. Perfect. I love that. So yeah, make sure your space is nice and cozy. You feel safe and secure. You have what you need around you. Like I said, I have my tea. Maybe you have some water or some coffee, some crystals, a candle, a blanket, a favorite hoodie, whatever makes you feel safe, a pet, an open window, a closed window. We're all so different, and I love that We all feel safe in different ways. Different things comfort us and make us feel secure. And that's part of what we're going to explore today, because in order to be a good friend to anyone, including ourselves, we have to know what makes us feel safe, what makes us feel loved, what makes us feel cared for, what makes us feel heard and understood, and how can we provide those things to ourselves, actively provide those things to ourselves. So as you settle into your space, maybe you cross your legs, maybe you place your hands over your heart or at your side, or you hold one of your favorite crystals. And maybe you close your eyes and just start to notice your breath. And give some awareness and attention to how you're feeling in this moment. Is your body feeling calm, hungry, satisfied, anxious, relaxed? No right or wrong, just allow yourself to become aware of your needs, and remind yourself that you've got your back, that whatever it needs, you'll get to it, you'll tend to it. And give yourself permission to be here now, to connect with your creative family, to connect with your heart. That this time matters, this time is important, this time is valuable because you value it. It doesn't need to matter to anyone else besides you. And give yourself the gift of a deep breath, inhaling deep into your belly. Feel your body expand as you take in all that fresh oxygen, and exhale. Gently release. Give yourself another gift, another breath, inhaling in. Taking in a little more this time and release. Dropping your shoulders away from your ears, relaxing your jaw, releasing your tongue from the top of your mouth. Just trying to relax your body. And another breath, deeply inhaling in. And exhale. Dearest God, blessed being of light, to the universe and all that is, thank you so much for allowing us this sacred moment in space and time to connect with you, to connect with each other, to connect with ourselves, our hearts, our meaning, our purpose, our life. To live this life out loud, to live this life as our most authentic version. Today we call upon the archetype of the Gemini Full Moon, and we ask that the highest, most balanced vibration of this energy be channeled through each one of us to expand our awareness of how we can best make use of these energies and this understanding, this perspective. Allow each and every one of us to take this gift of awareness and apply it to our lives in whatever way is the most supportive and affirming for us. May this time together be received as the blessing that it is, the blessing to be alive, the blessing to be with friends, the blessing to be in a growing state of love with ourselves and our lives and our purpose here. Thank you so much for everything that is and everything that's to come. And so it is. Amen. I am ready, and I hope you are ready as well, to explore this Gemini full moon. So I shared with you all some themes in the last post that I did, and some of them were self-talk, self-friendship, mentality. And as I was making notes for this live, I felt I wanted to add communication. So Gemini has this archetype of, we're going to move away from the symbology of the twins for just a moment, and we're going to focus on the ruling planet of Mercury and that mindscape and intellectual power that Mercury has, in that it wants to understand the world through receiving perspectives. And I say perspectives because it's not satisfied with one perspective. Mercury and Gemini energy wants many perspectives and understands that many perspectives are required in order to understand oneself and one's life, which is why there's some, what's the word I'm looking for? Like archetypical kind of thinking of Geminis as like very chatty and talkative, and like that's because there's this desire to bounce. There's this desire to reflect and allow information to move between things, between people, between experiences to gain a better understanding. And in the midst of all this bouncing, we can sometimes get lost in our heads. We can sometimes allow other people's perspectives and opinions to stick to us and go unquestioned, or decide that that's the one way to look at things. And as I say that, I feel pulled to Gemini's opposing energy, which is Sagittarius, which can rule things like belief structures and religions and ways of seeing the world. And at its lowest vibration, Sagittarius energy can be really rigid in those spaces about, I know the one way and this is the one way to do it. At its more balanced vibration, it's recognizing that I have one way, this person over here has another way, this culture over here has another way, and finds fascination with difference of beliefs. So we have to start to really balance our understanding of the thoughts that are coming into our head, our perspectives of the world. Are we taking in too many perspectives and not listening to ourselves? Are we believing we are the only one worthy of listening to and disregarding other perspectives? And that could be good or bad. You could be surrounded by people who appreciate your hard work, but you don't. And you're very rigid about that. And you're very stubborn about, no, I know I'm not great. I know I'm not going to do this or that. Whilst you have people telling you, no, actually you're very talented, or you should go on stage, or you should pursue this or that. And it's important for us to get really clear about who we are at our most authentic. expression, and make sure that whatever thoughts that we are allowing to persist, okay, because you're not going to be able to control everything. That's the nature of thought. They pop in, they pop out. People come in, come out of your life. They share their perspectives, they move on. You drive down the road, you see a billboard, it impacts you, you move on. Like, there's always thinking and communication happening constantly, but you get to choose what you're going to take in and hold on to. And if we don't pause for a moment to observe what thoughts we have taken and held on to, we can be walking around with other people's opinions. We can be walking around with other people's beliefs. We could be walking around with our own pain body's belief of us and not question it. So take this time in this moment to pause and just consider and sit with how often you actually think about or question the thoughts in your head. Specifically, the opinions you have of yourself and your art or your creative expression, if you're not comfortable with the word art. However you express yourself, how often are you actually auditing what thinking you are attaching to those things? Are there some areas of your life, going beyond our creativity, are there some areas of your life where your thinking is really rigid and stuck in a certain way versus, say, with your creativity, you're really open, but with thinking about relationships, you might be really closed-minded? So give yourself that gift of awareness on where in the whole of your life that you seem really open-minded or closed-minded about how to think about those things. And make note of that. Don't judge yourself for it if you find you're really closed-minded about relationships, or you're really closed-minded about family. Or maybe you're closed-minded about career possibilities, but you're open-minded in other areas. But don't judge yourself for where you're closed-minded. Just make note of them, because that'll actually be where we can focus our intentions when we get into the creative experience and exploration of this moon. Now, I wanted to add communication to the themes here for this full moon, because how we talk about ourselves and our heart work is really telling. If you're willing to share, I'd love to hear it. But just to get a general consensus of the feeling you get when you're asked about your art or what you do or what your creative expression is. What feelings go through your body and what words come out your mouth when someone asks you about your heart work? Are they generally positive? Are they somewhat negative? Maybe it's avoidant entirely, like you try to change the subject. And maybe it's self-deprecating, and that you, I see this a lot in creative circles, where there's a false humility attempt when someone compliments your work, that you downplay it. Oh yeah, it's great, but so-and-so's was so much better. Like, you don't give yourself the opportunity to accept the fullness of your greatness. You have to defer to other people. So consider that, and maybe too how you communicate about your art differs depending on who you're talking to. So maybe you're really enthusiastic talking about your heart work here with the Awakened Creators community, but if someone at work was to ask you about it, oh yeah, it's fine, it's a thing, it's not really, whatever. Or if you go to a writer's group or a writer's conference, and then maybe perhaps if you're anything like me, how I used to be, very like scared to even talk about your stories or what you've written around other writers, but like I feel comfortable talking about my writing in front of visual artists because I think maybe like, well, they don't really like, maybe that's not their realm, so I'm comfortable talking about it. But around other writers, I'm very like, oh, am I doing the writer thing right? So how do you communicate? Wings of Jewels says, I barely talk about my art face to face with people, except my grandmother and one of my coaches. I see that a lot, where it's kind of kept secret. Yes, I definitely downplay 100%, Itty Bitty says. I'd like to change that. We're getting there. We're getting there. Hi, Dream Detective. Ron Vibe says, I feel good talking about it. Okay. I have difficulty describing it because generally people have the wrong idea about what it is. Okay. So there's some roadblocks there with how do I articulate this thing that I do to people and communicate it in a way that feels really good. Wings of Jewels. Oh, what a vulnerable share. You're talking about yourself too much is the new inner critic's voice that comes up for me. Yes, that's that. I think part of that is that false humility that I see so often as a way to try to salve our fear that we're going to appear egotistical or selfish if we talk about our art. So needing to, we're like constantly checking ourselves and apologizing for ourselves and apologizing for taking up space and apologizing for actually liking our stuff. Like I'm working on one of my middle grade novels that I have out on Kindle, Bella, Angelo's Gift, and I love my story. Like, I love it. I write it, I read it aloud to myself, and I'm like, this makes my inner child so happy. But I think if I was maybe to try to communicate about it to someone else, I may not display such enthusiasm for it, out of fear that perhaps it's arrogant to like your story. So that can definitely impact our ability to share. I feel more comfortable talking about my theater work than my painting, Itty Bitty says. Yeah. Yes. So great awareness. The first step, right, is bringing light to those places. So now that we have shed some light on those places where we feel afraid to communicate or share or express fully, we know now where there's parts of ourselves that are not being allowed to breathe. And when I mentioned in the post that your sensitivity is a gift in order to sense when you're out of alignment, are you standing in empowered authenticity in those moments? Probably not, right? Hi, Dream State. Oh, Dream Detective, we're so thankful for you as well. Ron says, I feel a bit hurt when I show my art and people don't react at all. Okay, right. So now we're talking about receiving a communication, and it could even be a non-reaction is a communication, right? And so we receive that communication of non-reaction when people see our work. And then what plays, right? What record plays? Oh, you got this little DJ in your head. I see they're not reacting to my artwork. Grab the record that says they don't like it, it's not good, da 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 da, you know, whatever that one is that you have attached to that response from people. So we have all these records here that we're putting on, and I think an easy way to sense that alignment is it empowering you to be your most authentic self, or is it encouraging you to hold back? So ask yourself that as a way to challenge the thoughts in your head. Is this mindset, is this thinking empowering me to be my most authentic self, or is it encouraging me to hold back? Just bringing awareness to that. And I think it's pretty clear that a lot of what we shared is encouraging us to hold back, unfortunately. It's encouraging us to not shine so bright. It's encouraging us to assume people don't understand us. Hi, Kakute. It's encouraging us to maybe not take opportunities to share that we would otherwise maybe potentially find new opportunities through communicating that we're not going to find now because we didn't share. So consider that for a moment, that by not sharing, you have maybe missed out on a potential connection that could continue expanding you as a creator. So-and-so's not going to tell you now, oh, you're a writer? Oh, my sister's an agent and she just started and she's looking for new clients. Why don't I give you her number and you can reach out and see if she's open for submission? Or, oh, you're a painter? This shop downtown just opened and they take local artists on commission, and I think your stuff would look really cool in there. But we didn't share, so those conversations never happen. And thus we've limited ourselves. So not only have we held ourselves back, we've held our whole expansion back. So some things to consider for sure. Now I want to share a couple of personal practices that I have conducted on my own to try to counteract this way of thinking. Like I said, I have a Gemini moon. I am constantly analyzing my emotions. That's just how I am. Like, I feel something. Oh, why did you feel that? Oh, where did that come from? Oh, was it this? Was it that? Why do you think that is? I'm like psychoanalyzing myself constantly. So through the years, I've embraced this instead of found it annoying, and recognized, okay, this is part of me growing into becoming a really emotionally intelligent leader, somebody who can share emotional skills, emotional regulation skills. I have to learn them myself. So I want to share a few with you. And I don't think I've shared this before, but there's this one that I did, and I'm not going to get this paper too close to the camera because I don't really want you to see what it says. But the gist of it went like this. I recognized that I was telling myself a lot of stories about relationships and connections with people. Now, you can apply this to any sector of your life. If you want to keep it focused on your creativity, then you can do that here. Hi, Lynn, welcome. But basically what I did was this. I wrote down in pencil, specifically with intention in pencil, all the dialogues going on in my head about this particular connection. So I kept a running list it wasn't like I sat down and made all of this come out in one sitting. I kept this piece of paper with me and my pencil with me. And anytime a thought about this connection popped into my head, a thought that I was like, I don't really, like, that does not feel like it's allowing me to authentically express. That feels like it's holding me back, or it's keeping me stuck, or it's keeping me small. Those thoughts, I would write it down on this paper. And I kept it until I got it full. This whole page was full. I folded it like a book. You can see how I've kept it in my purse real small, and I would pull it out whenever I'd have a wayward thought, and I would write that thought down in pencil. Then when I felt like I had a pretty good collection, I was like, I think this has pretty much captured every negative lyric playing on that record. I went back to each one with a pen this time, and I literally rewrote over each one in a symbolic, ritualistic way. I rewrote those stories. I reframed them. I decided that is not the tale I wish to tell anymore, which is so fitting now that we moved into Sagittarius season, and is all about storytelling and beliefs that run in our head on autopilot. So I rewrote these stories. Let me see if I can peek through to the pencil side. My intention with this, with writing it in pencil and then over it in pen, was because I didn't want to remember what I used to think. I literally wanted it to fade into the paper and go forgotten, because this now in pen was what I was going to remember. So let me see if I can find a neutral one. Let's see. Okay. So I was pretty sensitive at this time about my emotional mood swings. And so I wrote down in pencil, I think it says, I ruin everyone's good time when I'm not doing good. They are better off without me. That is, oh, I know the pain of having that thought. They are better off without me running through your head. That is a very hard one. But I wanted to rewrite that thought. I thought, that's not serving me in any way. That's pulling me back into that crunched, depressive, self-deprecating space. I choose something different. And what I chose to rewrite it as, when I'm doing good, everyone else is doing good. I am a powerful influence. Meaning that while, yes, my bad mood can seep into other people's experience, but having that awareness of being a powerful influence, when I'm doing good, everyone's doing good. So I get to focus my intention on helping myself feel better so that I can be a positive influence on those around me. So that was just a little example. And like I showed you, I folded this paper up and I carried this in my purse for a very long time. In fact, I pulled it out of my purse to get it to show you. So it's still been in my purse for probably 6 months or more. And every time I heard one of those old stories playing, I went to my list. I was like, literally, what was I thinking instead? Oh, okay, yeah, that's the new thought. Got it. And I would say it out loud to myself and let it sit, let it literally counter that thought. So that's an idea of something that you might want to explore. Another thing I wanted to share before we get into our creative practice here is actually sponsored by my bestie. And I received these in the mail in a beautiful letter that my friend wrote me. And I realized while looking at them, this is a fantastic way to remind ourselves, A, that there are people who love us, and B, that they think of us probably so much more purely than we think of ourselves, right? Because they're not in our heads. However, their perspective of us, we want to keep, right? We want to hold on to the perspective of people who make us feel good, who help us and encourage our authenticity. Hi, Marty. So you could say, for example, do this with a friend or someone else in your life who you love, who you know loves you for you. And ask them to write down on some small pieces of paper some thoughts about you, right? Like this one, for example. It says, you are loved, adored, and admired by more people than you even realize. Have your friends or your loved ones write what they love about you. Write what they think about you. Get them to put it down on a little piece of paper for you. And you can do this for them. So you can make it like a fun little game where you write down some nice things that you think about them, genuine things that you think, you are so talented. I love how your stories make me feel. Or your paintings move me in a way that I never knew was possible. So let your friends know this and let them tell you what they feel about you, and then exchange them and hold on to them. Keep them on your altar or someplace sacred. Keep them in your purse even. So when you are feeling bad, I mean, I guess I shouldn't gender with purse, but on your person, where however you carry your items, so that when you are feeling low on yourself, when you are allowing a bad record to play in your head, you can pull out one of these cards and remind yourself that your best friend or someone that you deeply adore and love thinks this of you. And how amazing is that? It's nice to have people in our corner. And sometimes that's where we need those reminders to come from. So before I hit live, and I had my sketchbook and some graphite here, this image came through for me. Can you see it? It said, you are what you listen to. And a little ear. And I actually have an affirmations track on YouTube. I think it's called 7 Minutes to a More Positive Mindset or something like that. And this, you are what you listen to, is like the graphic, the thumbnail that I found on Unsplash. But I love that because it really is what's playing. What are you listening to? What's going on in your mind? What are the dialogues that you're allowing in? Whose opinions are you attaching to? Are they the opinions of people you love, adore, and respect? Are they the opinions of people who don't even hold the same values as you? Who would never be able to understand why you're doing what you're doing? And if they could never understand why you are how you are, or if they could never appreciate why you love what you love, why on earth would we care what they think about us? Why would we hold on to it for so long, right? And you could dive deep into that if you want to explore it, or you can free yourself to literally let go of that. Hi, Eli. And just say, I decide that unless the person is aligned with my values, is aligned with my authentic expression, and is aligned with love, their opinions of me, they're gonna just, they're real low. Like, I don't care that much. But we do care about the opinions of the people who love us, people who care about us. And my guess is that the people who genuinely love you and care about you actually think you are amazing. And so find a way to hold on to that. And you might realize too, like I have recently, that you can be closed off to receiving the truth of the people who love you the most. Okay? Like, oh, they're just saying that, or oh, of course they love me, you know, they're my dad, or they're my sister, or whatever. And again, downplay it. Challenge yourself to actually receive it. Challenge yourself. And I'm going to share this question with you that I learned in a book I recently finished called The Perfectionist Guide to Losing Control. 1,000 out of 10 recommend. If that resonates with you at all, you must read that book. But there was a question that the author asked that has so far completely changed my life and has given me a pause every day. She asked, what is ready to be enjoyed right now? For those of us who find it hard to receive whatever, the love from others, the belief that we could possibly be okay how we are, what is ready to be enjoyed right now when somebody compliments you, somebody that you care about, somebody who you value, who you know values you for who you are, gives you a compliment? What is ready to be enjoyed right now in that moment? Thank you. Wow. You know, I find it difficult to accept that, but that really means a lot to me. It truly does. Give yourself the opportunity to enjoy being loved. It's possible. It's possible. All right. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the ideas. I hope that they give you a chance to really explore those shifts in mentality that are so possible. So let's get back to this. Let's get back to what you listen to. Now I'm going to express and explore these themes on paper. I have some graphite, I have sketchbook. I also have these gel pens, which I just find super fun because they're so childish and like lighthearted, right? Who doesn't love rainbow pens? You can do all the colors. Hi. I want to pronounce this Kabiras. Kabiras? You can correct me in the chat if you'd like to, but I did my best. But use whatever tools that you have around you, or whatever you feel good at, or feel good with, not at. And also don't feel any pressure to create right now if you just want to absorb and you just want to soak it in. But I want to get a representation going of the chatter, okay? So let's get some representation going of the chatter in your creative expression. What's that chatter look like in your head? What color is it? What shape is it? Mine's black and white because that chatter tends to be pretty dichotomous. Just, it's this or that. You're either unloved or you're loved. There's hardly any color to it or gray. It's very black and white. I'm also going to make mine spiral because, woo, how the thoughts spiral. They take me down some dark paths. They can spiral out. It's funny because it actually kind of looks like my hair when it was long. What shape are your thoughts? What shape is the majority of your thoughts? Mine's also very crowded because I think a lot. My brain hardly ever turns off. Get a representation of your mindset going. Maybe there's a little good mixed in with the bad. Maybe it's mostly bad. Maybe it's mostly good. Congratulate yourself for that. Allow yourself to be proud. Okay, can we just take a moment? Allow yourself to be proud of the growth that you've made, of the expansion that you've made, of the evolution you've experienced. Can we please, please, please give ourselves a round of applause for who we are? I know we're not perfect, but God damn it, we are not who we used to be. Please give yourself some credit for that. All right? This healing thing gets to be fun. It gets to spark our curiosity about ourselves. It gets to be an interesting exploration into who we are and what makes us tick and how we can empower ourselves to expand and grow in ways that feel good, not like a slog through mud. Oh my God, am I ever going to stop healing? Like, let's just allow this to not be a burden. You're not a burden. Your challenges are not a burden. They are opportunities for you to impress yourself even more with how amazing you are. So give yourself a chance. Hi, Jenna. Oh, LBY, welcome, welcome. Glitter markers. Okay, yeah, get out all the things. Whatever calls to you. Looks like a CD. Brain is almost never off. Yes, express it. And when we're done here today, I encourage you to share what you've created with the community. Just make sure you tag at awaken.creators so I can post it up in the stories and we can make sure that we're following you, first of all, because you're fam, and that we are all able to see what you've created. I'm going to smudge my swirls because, boy golly, it gets foggy in there. In that head with all those swirling thoughts. All right. All right. So kind of like how I showed you with that exercise where you write in pencil and then you write in pen, I want you to somehow dominate your expression of the old thinking with new thinking. This is where my gel pens are going to come in handy for me. But maybe you stick stickers all over it to kind of cover it up, or not really cover it up, but again, to dominate. I really like that word. I know sometimes the idea of domination has very negative connotations, but I want us to consider empowering ourselves, that we get to choose where our domain is. Dominate. Where are we? What is our domain? Your mind is your domain. You are allowed to decide what gets to go on up there, what gets to stay. So don't be afraid to dominate your thinking. Allow your conscious awareness, your heart-aligned awareness, the part of you that is connected directly to source, that's undistorted by all this out here, let that part of you dominate your thinking, your mindset, what gets to stick around. All right? Marty says, mine is a spiral. Guess I'm going in circles. I can definitely relate there. I can definitely relate. All right. So get your tool of domination, which for me are rainbow pens, right? That's my tool for domination. Color, rainbow, vibrancy. Okay? And I'm going to start dominating this page with new thinking. So here's where you might want to consider, what would a loved one have to say about you? Sometimes we're asked this in like interviews. If we asked your former colleagues what your strengths were, what do you think they would say? You know, something like that. So if we asked the person who loves you the most for who you are, what they think of you, what do you think that they would say? Okay? And maybe that's what you write down. Maybe you write down some words, or you illustrate it by a symbol. Or maybe you dance it if you're moving in your space right now, what so-and-so thinks of you. Or alternatively, if you want to keep this between you and you, what do you want to think about yourself? What do you want to believe about yourself? What kind of friendship do you want to have with yourself? How do you want to think about yourself? So we had shared earlier some fears about being thought of as egotistical if we share enthusiasm for what we do. Well, maybe we can reframe that thought and say, how can we reframe that thought? My heart work lights me up because it's wanting to be shared. Sharing my heart work with others offers me opportunities for expansion. When I give myself permission to shine, I help others feel empowered to do the same. So if you have some thinking that you'd like to rewrite, use this moment to do so. You could also, I love this, Marty sharing. Yesterday, an old good friend told me that I was, quote, one of the sweetest people she had ever known. That is beautiful. So you could dominate your page with sweetest person. Or maybe you draw a little candy. But I love that you brought up this moment, because that's another way that you could look for inspiration, is like, what do your kids think of you? Like, that thing that the person told you, or that your child tells you, or that your sibling told you, or someone random at the store sometimes, right, will say, oh, you're so beautiful. Like, can we just collect those moments? That's what we're doing. We're going to collect those moments. Because obviously those people are seeing something in us that maybe we're not seeing, or we're not fully open to. In fact, when I was at the hospital with my dad, he's home now, by the way. Thank you to all of you for your well wishes for him. His surgery was a little complicated, but he's home now, and caregiving is going okay. My sister is here helping right now, which is wonderful. But while we were at the hospital, he had a roommate in his room whom I had the pleasure of meeting, an old Army veteran, and he did stop me and he told me, he said, "You are a beautiful woman." And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. Like, thank you. Like, let us move the conversation along to something else, but thank you. You know, just trying to protect myself a little bit there, but I'm going to write that down. Like, that's something you hear that you kind of just let it drift away, but let's hold on to these moments. So what are some things that you've heard, some positive things that you've heard told to you from other people? Maybe that you're a good friend. Or like my son will say, you're the best mom. And of course, then all my mom guilt shows up right then to ruin the party. I can't even appreciate the moment. But I'm going to collect that thought from my son. And if you want to share in the chat like Marty did, what are some kind things people have said to you through the years? Wings of Jewels, I've been told I could teach college level poetry. Collect that thought. Yes. That's a perspective. Someone sees that potentiality in you. Beautiful. Well, Ron's telling us we're all amazing, so let's put that down. Very caring, yes. I wrote it down too, itty bitty. I'm taking that one. Hey, Marty. The thoughts, yeah, being from former employees, let them soak in. That's a good reminder too. Let it all count. Oh, my parents say they couldn't have asked for a better daughter. That's beautiful. Yeah. I have been noticing my resistance to receiving appreciation from my own father for caring for him. So I am going to actually collect some of those thoughts that he's shared about my helpfulness. Or multiple times he said, I couldn't have done this without you. Beautiful. All right, let's see how we're doing on time here. All right, so we are at time, and I don't want you to feel an abrupt break. So just slowly, slowly get to a place where you can stop. Now, I will share my little, there's my chaotic thinking, and then my little rainbow sayings I'm collecting. But I think for me, I'm going to continue this practice. I'm going to keep this page open, and I'm going to actually challenge myself to collect thoughts, collect comments from people I love throughout the rest of this day and maybe into tomorrow as well. And I'm going to keep adding to this, and I'm going to see how many beautiful, affirming things are said to me on a regular basis that I might not even be paying attention to, and or allow to just go in one ear and out the other. I am deciding I'm going to collect those thoughts, I'm going to keep them, and I'm going to allow those thoughts to dominate my thinking and how I communicate about my art. So thank you guys. I gotta adjust here, my hips hurting. This was fun. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. I really wasn't sure how this would go, but one of my intentions for this live was to sit in deep trust, and of course Spirit always delivers exactly what we need to do in order to assimilate these energies. So thank you all for being here with me. Thank you for sharing. Go ahead and snap a picture of what you've created today and tag Awakened Creators so we can all see it and share it with each other. Get some more people following you, and just support each other as the great family that we are. So thank you all. My disco ball earrings, yes. Woohoo! You know, they really do work. When I'm driving in the car, I'll sometimes, like, I see little sparkles everywhere, and I realize, oh yeah, I'm wearing my disco balls today. But I picked these out because I thought that they were a good representation of all the different perspectives we can have. So thank you all so much. I love you. I will see you again very soon, and take care. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving if you celebrated, and otherwise a beautiful, beautiful day. Namaste.